Good Tuesday to you, and welcome to Thriving Tuesday Moments of Encouragement. I pray that you are coming on, and I'm looking for your comments. A couple of minutes late, but it's a late lunch edition of Thriving Tuesdays, and we hope that you are having a blessed day so far. Today, we want to talk about grace, trying to wait for some of you to populate. We are grateful for your presence. We know it takes a couple of seconds before that shows up, and so we want to make sure that we say good afternoon to each of you who comes on to share with us on these Tuesday afternoons or mornings, whichever time we get to do it, where we can come together and just share in these moments of encouragement. Today, our topic is grace. And as you saw if you came on earlier, it's all about grace. And what do I mean by that? For some of us, we like to receive grace. We're not always really good at giving grace. But the person that we seem to have the biggest problem giving grace to is us. And so today, I just want to talk to you a few moments about giving yourself some grace. Letting it be okay with you that you're not perfect. A lot of us suffer from perfection syndrome. We want to make sure everything is done exactly to a T. And sometimes that's possible, but other times it is not. And on those times when it is not possible, give yourself grace. Good afternoon, Miss Lucy. Good afternoon, Britt. Listen, so many times in our lives we are faced with choices, challenges. We aren't always our best at those things. But what we do know is that God is able to let us, get a pass. We got to do some things. We got to repent. We got to make sure that God knows that we are sorry for our infractions. But when we do that and God forgives, we got to give ourselves the grace to receive the forgiveness. Far too many of us struggle with forgiving ourselves. We struggle with grace, giving grace to us, because we are always pushing ourselves to a particular standard. And there's nothing wrong with the standard. It's a necessary thing for our lives. But when you don't meet the standard, when you fall a little short, don't get stressed out about it. Recognize that things happen. Things happen in your life, and there are situations and problems that you will face, but you do not have to beat yourself up about it. Give yourself grace. Grace to be okay, even when it seems like, you've done something and you keep doing it over and over again. You got to be still and ask God to help you to know that God's grace is still sufficient for your life. And because God's grace is sufficient, then we got to cut ourselves some slack and give ourselves some grace. Sometimes that's hard for us. Sometimes it's hard for us to even imagine exhibiting grace to ourselves. But I promise you, when you learn how to give yourself grace, then it will make it easier for you to give others grace. Some of us are hard on others because we want people to live up to the standard that we give ourselves. But everybody's not us, and they're not going to be us, and they're not supposed to be us. So we've got to learn what it means to give ourselves some grace, give others grace. And when we do, then the peace that will come to our lives will be overwhelming for us. I hope that someone today, and hopefully you will share this with others and share before this broadcast is over so that others can hear while we're talking, that often when we are struggling with ourselves, that's good, Miss Lucy, we got to stand still and know that God is God. And because God is a God of grace. Now, I'm not advocating that we live on cheap grace, that we keep on doing over and over and over again, the same thing over and over and over again, and just expect God to give us a pass. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is that there's some things that grace must be sufficient for, because you struggle with it so hard that you can't see your way through it. And God said, just like God said to Paul, when Paul asked God 3 times, please remove this thorn from me. Please remove this thorn from me. Please remove this thorn from me. God said to Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. So we thank God that it is grace that we are saved through that by our faith, because grace is unmerited. Grace is we can't do anything to receive it. It is unearned. It is God's gift to us, which is grace. And so in turn, we got to grace one another, and then we got to grace ourselves. No more beating up. No more saying that I should be better than this. I let this happen to me again. Grace. Grace for yourself, for others, remembering that it's a gift that you have been given. Good to see you, Sunshine. Hey, Del John. We're not gonna hang around a lot today, but this is just a really simple word. Grace. Give yourself grace, just as you will be graceful, gracious to others, and as we expect God's grace. For when we receive the grace of God, and we know that it is only God's grace, it makes it easier for us to be better to others, and in turn, be good to ourselves. Show yourself some grace. Give yourself some slack, and be encouraged. I'll see you soon. May God bless and keep you. You know this is going to be that season where I'm in and out and up and down. So I just keep watching for the time, but we won't miss a week. Just be here and share with us. And I am grateful for your presence. May God bless and keep you is my prayer. See you soon. Be encouraged.